defeated one of our heroes.
You'd think these rebels would learn.
Star Wars holds a special place in the hearts of most of us. It's that classic franchise from our childhood that never seemed to leave us, no matter how many questionable prequel films were released. Star Wars Battlefront picks up the mantle from its long-dormant namesake and brings the amazing franchise back to our consoles and into the new generation. Can it possibly live up to the otherworldly expectations? From the time you finish installation, Battlefront has plenty of hurdles to overcome. The fanbase were crying out as one defiant voice when one by one EA and DICE eliminated a beloved feature from the classic games, citing their need to remake the franchise rather than rebuild it. Space battles, instant action, single-player campaigns, galactic conquest, and the coveted but never seen ground-to-space battles from the ill-fated and eventually cancelled Battlefront 3 were all ousted, much to the disgust of many. Instead, what we have is a new-look Battlefront, and if looks were what DICE were going for with this one, they succeeded and even outdid themselves. Battlefront looks utterly jaw-dropping, and may be the finest-looking Star Wars game of all time. Looks are only half the battle when it comes to Star Wars. The second most important ingredient is the sound, and once again the designers have outdone themselves, despite some questionable pieces of original score that feel out of place. For the most part, John Williams' classic thunderous score is pounding away as you watch laser blasts pelt the ground around you with that satisfying, authentic zapping sound. Lightsaber effects sound authentic as well as the roar of X-Wing engines and the screech of TIE Fighter thrusters. It's one of the best looking and best sounding Star Wars games to date. Battlefront opts to be simplistic yet focused in its approach to gameplay. There are a handful of weapons to unlock, each one offering its own advantages and disadvantages in regards to range and accuracy. You can play in first person or third person, and while first person allows for a more snap-type system of combat, third person gives you a better view of your surroundings. It's a tactical choice, and you can bounce back and forth with the press of a button. You also have power-ups and star cards in your inventory. These can be boosts to accuracy, grenades, jetpacks, or even sniper rifles that can be temporarily used. This kind of versatility makes for interesting on-the-fly battle mechanics. With no single-player campaign to speak of, Battlefront relies primarily on its multiplayer to deliver the thrills. There is a solo or cooperative wave-based survival mode, but with only 4 maps and 15 waves, it gets tiresome pretty quickly. With a friend, however, it can certainly be fun. Other single-player offerings include the training mode, which boasts a handful of scripted missions for you to hone your skills and try to complete a challenge. Finally, there is Battles mode, where you can either face a friend or an AI opponent in a Kill Confirm style homage to Call of Duty. It's an uninteresting and unsatisfying replacement for the beloved instant action at best. Single player as a whole feels almost entirely tacked on and unfinished. Where Battlefront truly begins to shine is in its competitive multiplayer. There are 9 modes in all, and each one of them offers something distinctly Star Wars. Unfortunately, half of these modes are uninspired and lacking any real staying power. This makes for an extremely mixed multiplayer package which goes hand in hand with the overall Battlefront experience. The weakest of the modes is Droid Run, a mobile domination style of game, and a weaker version of the other mode, Drop Zone. These matches pit 6 players versus another 6 players in a small, unadventurous tug-of-war over droid capture points. With no vehicles or heroes to shake up the repetitive flow, these games can either go extremely quickly or can last until the timer runs out. Though it functions perfectly fine, you won't find many of your friends playing this one. Cargo is another fairly simplistic mode featuring a single objective to defend and one to capture. You exchange from a score pool of 10, watching the score bar bounce back and forth for the duration of the match. I've never seen a team win 10-0. It's not the worst mode, but it certainly doesn't offer much in terms of replayability. Again though, it functions. The biggest strike against Battlefront comes in the form of Fighter Squadron. In the absence of space battles, you get your primary starfighter fix from these close engagements. Featuring 10v10, it should have been a dream to play. Ships control well, and the combat is satisfying, but the objectives are dull and the vehicle choice is laughable. As the Rebels, you get to pick an X-Wing or an A-Wing. Your hero ship is the Millennium Falcon. As the Empire, you get to pick a TIE Fighter or a TIE Interceptor. Your hero ship is Slave 1. That's it. That's all. You get to perform a few flight maneuvers to dodge incoming fire, but for the most part you will just die, respawn, kill another ship, get killed, and respawn again. It's unsatisfying to say the least, and it ranks as one of Battlefront's biggest disappointments. There is also Hero Hunt mode. This 8-player mode pits 7 players against one hero character. It feels scrappy at best, and the person who scores the hero kill is literally the person who gets the last shot off. It seems unfair and can lead to a lot of unrewarded effort. The only way to win is to get kills as the hero, so some matches feel stacked against you as soon as the first hero dies. It's not very fun, and it goes without saying that it's not helped by the insultingly small pool of hero characters. There's Boba Fett, Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo. That's less than a quarter of the playable hero offerings from the last Battlefront installment. There are 8 more hero characters on the way, but they will be exclusively part of the extensive paid DLC model. At this point, you'd be forgiven for thinking Battlefront was the biggest disappointment of the gaming year. It might well have been, but for a few aces. Heroes vs. Villains is a frenetic elimination-style 6v6 mode where 3 players start as heroes, and the other 3 can spawn and respawn as soldiers and bodyguards. The objective is to be the first team to eliminate the other team's 3 hero characters. Engagements are incredibly fun, and it's great to have the chance to play as all the different hero characters. If only there were more characters to choose from. Drop Zone is an 8v8 mode which acts like a foot race to capture designated pods. It's a satisfying and more fleshed out version of what Droid Run tries to be. Blast is a blast. Your standard team deathmatch mode, you face off in massive ground battle engagements of 10v10. It's simple but effective and satisfying. There are no other objectives than to eliminate the other team. Fast-paced, addictive, this is the sort of simple mode that suits the more simplistic style of gameplay. It's a lot more accessible than other modes, and it's an easy recommendation. Walker Assault is where things get serious. Massive 20v20 battles featuring focused objectives, massive vehicular warfare, and insane scale. These enormous battles are what people want a Star Wars game to be. As the Rebels, you capture points to signal Y-wing bombers to come in and hit the powerful AT-AT walkers. As the Empire, your job is to repel these attacks. Teamwork is required here, and you will need to have more on your mind than just your kill count to be successful. Hero characters are available, but they never feel overpowered. The final mode is Supremacy. Like Walker Assault, Supremacy offers 20v20 mayhem as you race to capture and hold points on the map. Vehicles, heroes, and super weapons all have a big part to play in the carnage, and watching X-Wings get swiped from the sky by a smart rocket as laser fire forces you to make a suicidal sprint across the battlefield to safety is exhilarating. Suffice to say, these 2 massive modes are Battlefront at its best. So when you weigh up the positives and the negatives, the positives do win out, if only just. Battlefront has ambition but lacks content. There are too few maps, too few hero characters, too few vehicles, and too few truly enjoyable game modes. But what is most important is that the core of the game is perfect. The look and feel is second to none. When Battlefront is good, it's really, really good. The problem is that it leaves you wanting more, yet has nothing more to give you. Nevertheless, this is a Star Wars experience that no Battlefront fan should miss, even if they wisely decide to wait for a price drop first.